Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. I believe we're live. Can somebody give me a live check? I need to double check that. Are we dead? Are we alive? What's going on there? Late genres politics. Okay, but on my screen, it says 11:30 a.m. I guess late is defined by this chat as any amount of seconds after 11:30. John Rose, more like John slept. Yeah, no, I'm part of Woke Right. Did you not hear? I'm always sleeping. Hey there, guys. Hey, Bucky, Right Guy, RC, Colton. So glad to see all of you guys here. Today, we have a lot to go through, and we have some concerning, immediate information coming out. Breaking news about a potential Iranian airstrike on a U.S. base in Qatar. We're going to keep monitoring that. If you guys see anything pop up, just let me know in the chat. I'll keep on grabbing it, try to make sure that we stay up to date with the latest news. But I did want to touch on some more actually just lighthearted stuff, positive news. We have some positive news about what's going on, believe it or not. And then kind of mock some of our at-home grifters. I absolutely think so. 12:30 is 12:30 unless it is wrapped. Then apparently 12:30 is 12:35-ish. Okay, yeah, understandable. That is, I see where you're coming from. Latest defined in milliseconds. Yeah, nothing ever happens, bros, are having some trouble. They're struggling, just a little bit struggling. But otherwise, I think we're doing okay. Maybe nothing ever happens from this point forward. You don't know. But anyways, if you guys like the stream, if you want more, give it a like, give it a comment. Make sure to share it with your friend, the one that you actually like. And otherwise, give us some super chats if you want some help, if you want Rap to come by and to resurrect from the dead. But yeah, no, we appreciate all the support you give to the channel. Absolutely. Check out America First Insight, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So there's a few things to talk about today, but I wanted to start off with giving you a positive shine on the stuff we talked about yesterday. I gave you guys a very calm, sober 15 minutes. Hey, this is what's going on here, the things I'm worried about. And to be clear, if you guys go back and watch that video from yesterday, all the things I list at the end are things I am worried about happening. I don't believe that they're confirmed to happen, but as we saw today, there might be a couple of signs of it starting with gas going up. I think it's like up 30 cents in my area, a few other things. And that precipitates the rest of the problems. But right now, Iran's still intact, and it might stay intact, which is actually what we're going to be discussing. Over here, we just had China issuing a warning to Iran. A warning to Iran after threats to close the Strait of Hormuz. The Persian Gulf and nearby waters are vital trade corridors. They must be kept stable and free from disruption. I very much enjoy this rhetoric. Obviously, Iran and China being such big trade partners, China buying so much oil from Iran, they could arrange a deal where everything stays kind of halfway closed. They get their stuff, nobody else gets to go through. This, I believe, is China trying to bring about more stability. Why? Why does China want this? Primarily because their partners are going to feel a lot of friction if they're not allowed to go through. So there are a couple of other countries that use this, and I'm going to have a chart in just a second to show you guys, to show who all is using that. I think it's from here, right here, the Oil and Gas Association. Nope, that was the statistic on oil. Here we go. China is the main destination of Strait of Hormuz oil flows. So, you know, you get, I believe it's like 45% of all of China's oil comes from the Strait of Hormuz in Iran. And we have some other people, if you look at that right chart, oil flows by destination. A bunch of other countries that China probably has trade deals with: South Korea, India, Japan, UAE, Singapore, and then down there you have United States. We get way less, way less. It's not as important to us. But as you understand, there's other goods flowing through there, and there's other important things. And also Russia. If China, Russia, and Iran are in this circle in kind of a mob violence type of opposition to us, it's really important that Russia be able to continue using the strait. There's a constellation of things that I believe are keeping China diplomatic here and trying to keep the country stable. American Nerd for 2, China is on our side. What the hell? It not necessarily, but here's what they are on the side of. China is on the side of stability. Right now, they understand Iran falling apart would be very bad for them, probably be worse for them than it is for us. And as a result, we're going to be able to avoid some negative consequences if China takes this seriously. If they take seriously keeping the strait open, keeping the oil flowing, and doing whatever they have to do politically to keep Iran stable as we have all of this stuff going around. Now, Russia, China, a few other countries were talking about sending nuclear warheads to Iran, but it wasn't the heads of state, at least in terms of Russia and a couple of other countries. So it may just be posturing. I actually have a very, very funny post to show you guys from Trump. Donald J. Trump, Truth Social, 11:27 a.m. ET. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word nuclear and saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that? Or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. It shouldn't. I guess that's why Putin's the boss. By the way, if anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have, 20 years advanced over the pack, is our nuclear submarines. They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built, and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their mark perfectly. So in addition to our great fighter pilots, thank you to the captain and crew. So if you guys don't understand what Trump's doing there, first half, he's talking about how insane and how much that he would retaliate to other countries, diplomatically, politically, to other countries supplying Iran with warheads. And then he goes about this whole thing. The second half, it may be more obscure, but what Trump's doing, he's telling all these other countries, especially China, yeah, you know, all those nuclear submarines we have in Australia and Japan and across the South China Sea, yeah, they're pointed at you, buddy. They're pointed at your stuff. They're pointed at everything. I will blow you out of this freaking water. And no, this isn't like World War III talk. It wouldn't escalate into that. But what he's saying is like, I will consider this a deeply aggressive act to give nuclear warheads over. Anybody trying to give nuclear warheads to Iran, whoever it is. Let's see. American Nerd for 3. Has Iran even done anything since this happened? Yes, they've had parliamentary statements. The parliament has tried to close the Strait of Hormuz, which China is preventing. We're hoping that China prevails over their parliament. There's a few other things going on internally in Iran, but as of right now, we're waiting for them to do something. Again, any of you guys, Glitch TV for 2, I love this. Nuclear, please. Iran ain't shit. Yeah. No, I'm feeling better. If you guys can't tell, I'm feeling better this morning. It's been a week, 2 weeks of, anxiety, roller coasters, riding the tiger with President Trump. But right now, in this moment, I'm feeling very optimistic based off of some of the things I'm seeing. Some things are being told in the background. All right. But yeah, going more into this China news. Let's see here. Just letting you know, China has 45% of oil imports from Iran through the Strait of Hormuz. Via the Strait of Hormuz. I think they actually get a much larger percentage, but that's the amount of their oil imports that come directly through the strait. So it may be the fact that China gets 85-90% of their oil from Iran, but they get it through other methods. This is the stuff that comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So it's half their oil. Not good if they lost it. The United States gets about 7%, according to EIA. I'm taking another look over here. Yep. And so this is just the official statement from the China Foreign Ministry spokesperson. Said today, the Persian Gulf and its surrounding waters are vital channels for international goods and energy trade. Safeguarding security and stability in the region serves the common interests of the international community. China calls on the international community to intensify efforts to de-escalate tensions and prevent regional instability from having a greater impact on global economic development, the spokesperson said. Okay, there's a lot of hints in this statement as to why China is intervening. And so we're going to go through that in a second, but I have to read Mr. M for 5. Do you know a channel called Dr. Lavater? He's posted about Massie and how, quote, he needs to be protected, and he's the most sensible man in Congress. Yeah, no, I have no idea who Lavater is. I'll check it out later if you want me to. There's going to be lolberts everywhere. Lolberts live online. If you have like normie libertarians who are like the leftists, they live in real life. They live in all these other obscure places. Most of like the libertarians who are obsessed with talking about libertarianism, right-wing libertarianism, they're online. They're terminally online. They're going to have YouTube. They're going to have Discords. They're going to have all these places where they're just talking nonstop about things that we can't actually do. And that's the important part. I think that's the distinction. If libertarians want to salvage their entire ideology back into the mainstream, where they actually have even the most minute amount of influence, they would immediately start figuring out how to cooperate with MAGA, not turn against them. And again, specifically, I'm talking about domestic policy. You know, with foreign policy, it's whatever, but with domestic stuff, with economics, why not work with the administration? Why do you have to go turncoat and work with Democrats, which is the focus of the stream? I just needed to get this in here. I needed to talk to you guys about what's positive about this first. I needed more of a positive note. Is that okay with you guys? Eric Daughtery. Oh, goodness gracious. Eric Daughtery. What is Eric Daughtery up to? Why on earth am I not pulling up Eric Daughtery? Did I spell his name wrong? Yeah, okay, there we go. I didn't capitalize his name, so the search didn't pull him up. Trump has national security meeting planned at the very moment Iran is striking U.S. bases, so they obviously knew. Iran launched 6 missiles towards U.S. bases in Qatar. Right, so it's happening. It is happening, ladies and gentlemen. The happenings are currently taking place. I would like to remind you guys, so we don't know exactly what's going on. If you can do real quick, say a prayer for any service people that are currently in harm's way. If that is something that you're able to do right now, just a really quick prayer. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, Son of the living God, please have mercy on our soldiers. Anybody in danger and harm's way as a result of Iran's military strikes, please protect and preserve all of them throughout this day. And please preserve our wonderful country. Amen. Okay. Mr. M for 5. All I know is that he's a foreign monarchist, I think. Yeah, I've been very nice in his, although I think he's in a group called Zcast. Yeah, I don't know, but like I said, if you want to at me on X or DM me, I can figure that out. At Real John Rose. Effie Zoomer fell for it again. Lol. John was wrong again. I don't even know what you're talking about. I was saying that we were going to expect something to happen, but with the positive news is China's intervention, if you're talking about that. China wanting to keep Iran stable is that. So when I'm talking about keeping Iran stable, I'm not talking about them striking our bases or doing anything else. I'm talking about actually keeping the economic flow going, which was part of the concerns I talked about yesterday. So as of right now, when we're going through this particular moment with the strikes, understand we don't know the full repercussions of this. We need to know if there's casualties. We need to know if anybody was going through. I'm seeing things that people say that they might have warned us beforehand, which changes the context of it. You understand that sometimes Iran sends missiles, but then intentionally misses. And again, you may say, oh, scope. Look, they missed the hell out of every single missile they were sending in like the first day they retaliated against Tel Aviv. But it's for a different reason. For that, it was to cause civilian casualties. For this time, it's possibly because they don't actually want us to respond. Well, I think it's really a question of whether or not they cause casualties. They cause casualties if they harm things. we'll probably immediately retaliate stronger. If they are not, then there's a chance. Oh, he's coping. He's coping. Yeah, you can go ahead and say that if you want to. But yeah, no, I actually still want to continue talking about the positive news. What was it? Or at least get through this. The things I was talking about in regards to this. What is China's incentive in this? Guys, just keep on the update. We'll keep looking for news as it goes on. I don't have a co-host right now. If I did, I would have them scouring everything. I think Mr. Luke fell asleep. He slept in a little bit. I'm not sure. Name one thing planned doubters got right in 2025. Spoiler, you can't. Planned doubters have been wrong for half a year. And I think that's important to point out. Like, when it comes to deportations, when it comes to Trump's economic promises, when it comes to the tariffs, when it comes to like anything that regards Trump's agenda at home, we had a couple of hiccups and we had a couple of scares about deportations not going through, but they've continued. In regards to that, planned doubters have been absolutely humiliated. And that's part of the reason why you see like a massive inflow of people coming in to just like talk about, I'm salivating at the mouth at the thought of dead American soldiers on Iranian ground because it means I won an internet argument. Yeah, that's kind of the type of person that we're dealing with when they want to laugh or whatever. Iran versus China, US China is like one man versus 100 gorillas. American Nerd for 2. Want to trust the plan. I'm still worried, TBH. Yeah, no, of course. You guys saw me yesterday. If you've been paying attention, I was worried yesterday. Rationally speaking, I understand what's going on. I understand Iran to be an irrational actor in all of this. But in regards to other things, in regards to the heart, it's hard. It's like you get on a roller coaster, you get down, you get to the part where you're just going a little too fast. Yeah, that's where Trump has me. I'm actually feeling pretty good this morning. Let's see. Oil, that's their incentive. Let's see. Still don't see us going to war. Yeah, Mike. No. So when I talked about my concerns yesterday, every single concern I have about this that can damage Trump's domestic policy in regards to oil prices, inflation, trade deals going through, disintegration of any potential trilateral agreement between US, China, and Russia, in regards to any of the things, and of course, any potential migrant crisis that comes as a result of Iran destabilizing. All of those things come and can come without us really doing anything further. We can do some retaliatory strikes, but once we did the first strike, we kind of created the scenario where some people in Iran could decide to perform a coup. And it's really a matter of how strong is any government that tries to take over the current government. Most of the time, they're too weak to actually facilitate control over the entire region. That's what causes all the bad stuff. Does that make sense? So it doesn't really matter if we're in war or not, if we have boots on the ground or not. The bad things can happen. But the bad things, like I said, this particular news story that I've been trying to start the show on, but things happen. Nothing happens, bros are in shambles. No, the reason I'm starting with the China thing is to help you know, it's like China actually, because of their personal interest and because of them not wanting to harm their trade partners, could be the point of stability for this entire affair. Even if there happened to be some sort of coup in Iran after all this happened, because they're weaker, they sense weakness in the government, the Ayatollah. Even if there is a coup, that would make me incredibly nervous, and I would not be happy about any of it. And I would be telling you guys, well, I'm pretty sure this is not going to go well. But in that scenario, there's a chance that China could intervene instead of us, not militarily, but politically, diplomatically. It would be weird if they militarily intervened. I don't think that's in the card for them. Let's see here. Oh gosh, man, you guys are really funny. But yeah, so just to let you know about like how significant it would be to replace, because some people go, well, why don't we just sell them the oil instead? And they're kind of spurred on by Trump's comments earlier this morning, where he was like, come on, guys, drill, baby, drill. He was, directing his energy department, get that oil going. And I know that we're going to be able to take a bigger share out of the oil market in the face of instability. But right now, there's a lot of things going on that are not capable. We're not capable of actually replacing that kind of oil supply, no matter what you do. I think by next year, the plan is to try and have 100 million more barrels of oil coming out of the ground. But that's actually a pretty impressive feat. To replace 1.5 million barrels of oil per day from Iran to China by rail, if the Strait of Hormuz closes, you need 27 trains, 80 cars each, 700 barrels per car running daily. That's a train every 53 minutes nonstop across 5,000 miles, ignoring logistics costs and infrastructure limits. So yeah, it's exorbitantly expensive, and in terms of logistics, just infeasible to get the oil from anywhere other than the Strait, which is why this is China's interest. Even if they continued getting oil from Iran, they're not going to be able to get as much via train. We're not going to be able to replace the 1.5 million barrels a day, even if they bought from us. Let's see. American Nerd for 3, thoughts on Vance and Rubio's interviews yesterday. I did tell you guys that they went around, did the rounds. We had Vance, Rubio, Secretary Pete Hegseth, and they strongly represented the genuine interests of the White House, I believe. Again, sometimes Trump says stuff on Truth Social that doesn't actually reflect what his actual policy is or what he actually does. And that's how I interpret yesterday. He was trying to scare the shit out of Iran. But with Vance, Rubio, Secretary Hegseth, you heard them very clear. No regime change, no war. They are seeking diplomatic solutions. They are hoping Iran takes them. We do have strikes coming against U.S. bases now. And so, like I said, we have to figure out, did they hurt us? Did they not hurt us? Did they miss? Did they hit the bases? How much damage have they done? And I believe if they've done any amount of like significant damage, we're probably slamming them. We're probably grand slamming them. And we'll have to see what happens after that. It is heating up. Things are heating up. And I understand if you're concerned about that. I do actually feel better after reviewing some other information. Let's see. What about Alaska? We can get more oil out of Alaska. It's actually part of that land bill that everybody's screaming about on X. It's kind of a separate part of it. But yeah, no, there's some lands we could lease for oil. We're drilling in the Gulf of America. We're getting a lot of things done. There's projects we could do to get energy pumping. It's just that it's not something that happens overnight. We're doing everything we can by the executive office. Congress could help, but of course they're not going to unless they pass that land bill that everybody is crying about. Let's see. All right, we're getting some disclosed stuff. Iran's Operation Basharat al-Fath against U.S. bases has begun. Oh, they gave it an operation name. Oh my. No, I thought Iran was going to peacefully surrender to the U.S. Question mark, question mark, question mark. That's what we were all hoping and praying for, aliens. But man, these people are really stupid and evil. And again, ever since we had this retaliation, pretty much ever since the moment that their atomic nuclear chief went, well, I know you guys are thinking about striking us, but I think that I should exponentially increase our nuclear program. You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. Like the very thing that we were going to strike you over, you're like, well, I'm going to do it extra bad now. No, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. Iran is not. We tried to give them a diplomatic answer, and it's really stupid that they're going about this. We have more to talk about in regards to the ethics of this. We're going to get into that when we get to Massie, but let's see. Will you stream NYC race? If I don't, I know someone who will, and I'll probably be on their stream, Gustavo. Wink, 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 wink. Yeah, no, but more people have access to the channel now, so you guys should be seeing streams and or videos from other people, more so in the evening. Zach Webster for 5. John, Iran informed the U.S. of the strikes, which is why we evacuated most of them. Thank you, Zach. I saw that. People were saying it. I didn't have it confirmed. But, Zach, I appreciate you telling me that. I do think that is the situation. And that's why I'm saying we don't know exactly what's going to happen next. If they said, oh, evacuate, then it's kind of more of a question of what happens now. We're going to have to look at that, because I don't know if we're going to strike back. If they told us to evacuate and we didn't suffer casualties, then we have more of a conversation to have. But, you know, if one American was harmed, then we're probably going to smack them back. The real question is whether or not this is good news for Masters. Yeah, I'm not gonna speculate on that. I'm not gonna wax poetic on that. But anyways, going forward, to close that story, I really want Iran to kind of be put in check by China. I would like China to police here. If we're not going to be involved, and I don't want us to be involved, and I already think we're too involved on a personal basis, then let's let China handle it so that they can keep their oil safe. Please help keep the region stable. Maybe China and Russia can work together and keep the region stable. Oh, okay. So yeah, the N-word. No. Okay. Continue. We're going to continue watching. We're going to monitor the situation, guys. I got my situation monitoring contacts in. I got my eye drops for situation monitoring. They monitor the situation at 2020 resolution. Yeah, let's go ahead. I want to talk about Massie and Bernie. Actually, it's kind of funny to like look at Bernie. So how about we do that first? I'm going to go over to Bernie. So yeah, this is at a Bernie Sanders rally. He's talking about this stuff. He's like reading out the official like announcement that we struck Iran. So and the crowd's booing. Listen to what this guy has to say. Listen to what this clown has to say. Also, do you guys not think that he looks a little deranged? I just want your honest opinion. Do you guys think that Bernie looks a little deranged here? Like he's having trouble kind of keeping it together. He's getting a little old. Guys. Ben Cynics 5, your video on the magnification of Rubio seems to be holding true with each passing day. I am impressed by him so far as Secretary of State. Yeah, Ben, I mean, honestly, Rubio is really outdoing himself. And I'll avoid negging anyone else, but Rubio really showing himself to be strong. And I do believe it's authentic. I've said this in private and I've said this in public. I think he's an authentic convert to MAGA. Yeah.
I agree. And I want to tell
a crowd full of people, by the way, who were screaming for the rooftops for us to strike Russia, screaming at the rooftops for us to put troops in Ukraine. People like, this isn't like 10, 20 years ago. It's like a few months ago, actually, maybe last week, begging for us to militarily intervene on Ukraine's side, and people that were voting for hundreds of billions of US taxpayer dollars to continue flowing to a foreign conflict. The NPC switch has been flipped. The little brain chip has been replaced. And now, we're back to no more war. No more war, Democrat. Yeah, no. All these people. And why am I making fun of them? Why am I pointing it out if I agree that we shouldn't intervene? Because these people have no beliefs. I actually have beliefs. You guys actually have beliefs. We actually think things should be better. These people don't have beliefs. They have social signaling and they have virtue signaling. Like, that's all it is. That is all that their lives comprise of. They are scum. Anyways, now to the big scumbag.
Tell you something. Not only is this news that I've just heard the second alarming that all of you have just heard, but it is so grossly unconstitutional. All of you know that the only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress. The President does not have the right
Okay. So, if you are not familiar with the United States War Powers Act of 1973, it was a act by Congress which was meant to restrict the amount of intervention the United States president could engage in without Congress's capacity of like approving or denying. According to the Constitution, the president's not really supposed to be doing most of what the president does for the past 150 years. But we just let it happen, and it happened a lot in Vietnam. So when we got into Nixon, everybody was like, "Hey, can we pass some stuff and make it so that this doesn't happen anymore?" And so they did, but they didn't actually prevent the president from using military force whenever he needs to. The 1973 Act allows 60 days of continued conflicts. Whatever they're doing, whatever strikes anybody needs to do, until they have to get approval from Congress. And of course, because Donald Trump does not want to go to war with Iran and is not declaring war on Iran, as he made explicit before and after and continuing after, and it was made clear by literally everybody in his cabinet that went to speak on news and spoke through channels. This is just absurd virtue signaling. Absurd, deeply hypocritical virtue signaling by a crowd of people that have no idea what the hell they think or believe. They just know that they want to win and they want the other side to lose. It's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Their beliefs are whatever the TV people tell them. Lewis, that is absolutely right. It is whatever the glowy box says. It's whatever salon.com tells them. HuffPo, you guys go on Huffington Post. You guys see the Lewis Huffington Post article? Oh my gosh, it gave me my opinion today. I can't think on my own, but I got my opinion from Huffington Post. Oh my gosh, they're so cool. Democrats right now watch that one episode of Schoolhouse Rocks where, quote, "I'm just a bill," and thinks that's how every decision has to be made, and then they regurgitate that to people who aren't smart. Well, no, my point is just like the bill from 1973 allows Trump to do what he just did. What he just did is completely in line with what Congress has done. So the problem isn't the president. The problem is Congress. Once again, Congress loves pretending that they are not the problem whenever any situation arises in which they have fucked up. And in this situation, Congress gave their constitutional power to be able to military intervene into places over to the president because they never spoke up before on any of these strikes. They just let everything happen. That's how power ebbs away. It's because Congress is not willing to actually stand up for itself. And it really, honestly, is just kind of lazy. They don't want to deal with it. They would rather have responsibilities delegated to other branches of government. They're sick and tired of governing you people. They just want a paycheck and they want to go home. Why do you demand Congress write bills and pass bills? Why will you not let them just sit on their fat asses and get nothing done? What is wrong with you people? Yeah, but no. Yeah, Vox. Yeah, Vox is a big one. I've seen their videos. Their videos are abominable. We love the anime PFP. Look, I was thinking about changing it to one of my other ones with the either the American flag behind it, MAGA hat, something else. But I really like Cowboy Kikuri. I like the whiskey glass. I also like the artist that I got this from, the artist I commissioned for it. So I've always just enjoyed the image. Thoughts on staunch Thomas Massie defenders because of AIPAC? It's a very obtuse, Jacob. It's a very obtuse position to take. That is my opinion on it. And by obtuse, it just simply means they're taking one in detail with no context and not actually looking at it. When you look at what Massie is doing, he's not actually doing anything to curtail Israeli influence right now on the government. The people that are currently trying to like whittle out all of this, as they were doing in the months prior, those are the people actually doing it. And also, if you look at Massie's largest donors, you will start to see a couple of funny things in regards to that. I agree with AIPAC's general sentiment that AIPAC buddies shouldn't be wandering around Congress. I think we should get rid of all foreign influence in our Congress. It's like, I can agree with Massie on things. I can agree with Massie on more things than most MAGA voters do. But my problem is who actually produces results. That's the whole thing. I always bring it back. I say it to you guys over and over and over again because I think it's what you should be saying to other people. That's why I say it. It's because you should be telling these people that talk about all these fun, fancy, floating ideas, whether they're Democrats or libertarians or anything else, is Well, how are you going to get that done? And if you can't get that done, I don't fucking care, because I want actual real things to happen. I want things to actually improve. And if you don't have a way to make things actually improve, I don't want to deal with you. Okay. American Nerd for 5. They can't impeach me for bombing Cambodia. The president can bomb whomever he likes. Quote from the 95 Nixon movie. I saw you guys watching that the other day. That was pretty funny. But yeah, no. Okay, let's take a look here. Oh yeah, and just, it was a quick clip from Scott Adams, and I'm not going to play it for you guys, but you understand the base thing that's going on. These people, 84% of the phone data, the data tracking from these phones, are people that have gotten to 9 or more rallies. The people at Bernie Sanders rally, they are using all of the rest of their money, whatever money they have lying around, because they're going bankrupt. They've taken that money, and all of it is going to these fake rallies where they bring people, bus people around so that it looks like there's this grand opposition. But it's all fake. It's all fake, and you're going to see it's fake next year, because these midterms are going to be pretty abysmal. They're going to be pretty abysmal in terms of dim advertising and dim promotion. I don't know where they're going to get their money from, because they're pretty much broke. But yeah, it's all fake again, if you were wondering. Anyways, let's take a quick look. I was back over in Massie. Yeah, so Thomas Massie here is saying 3 bombings to neutralize Iran might be the 2025 version of 2 weeks to slow the spread. And again, this is using rhetoric that we have used before in order to try and attack the MAGA base. This is to strike fear into the MAGA base. It is to essentially fearmonger the MAGA base into thinking Trump and his administration don't mean the things that they're actually saying. It's a load of crap. Massie knows it's a load of crap too, but again, it doesn't matter if he gets exposed as a liar if your money is already donated to him by the time you figure out that we didn't actually go to war. That's the deal. That's the grift, and Massie has found a new one. He's adjusting to the situation. He's trying to build up as much money as possible because, as we now know, Donald J. Trump is ready to take him out. And so this is fun. I want to read this real quick, guys. I'm having so much fun reading Donald Trump talk about this, because obviously we've had trouble with Massie. We've had problems with Massie, but oh boy, this is a fun one. Okay. Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky is not MAGA, even though he likes to say he is. Actually, MAGA doesn't want him, doesn't know him, and doesn't respect him. He is a negative force who almost always votes no matter how good something may be. He's a simple-minded grandstander who thinks it's good politics for Iran to have the highest level nuclear weapon, while at the same time yelling death to America at every chance they get. Iran has killed and maimed thousands of Americans, true, and even took over the American embassy in Tehran under the Carter administration. We had a spectacular military success yesterday, taking the bomb right out of their hands, and they would use it if they could. But as usual, and despite all of the praise and accolades received, this lightweight congressman is against what was so brilliantly achieved last night in Iran. Massie is weak, ineffective, and votes no on virtually everything put before him. Rand Paul Jr., little Rand Paul Jr., they both have the little messy hair, so it kind of fits. No matter how good something may be, he is disrespectful to our great military and all that they stand for, not even acknowledging their brilliance and bravery in yesterday's attack, which was a total and complete win. Massie should drop his fake act and start putting America first, but he doesn't know how to get there. He doesn't have a clue. He will undoubtedly vote against the great, big, beautiful bill, even though non-passage means a 68% tax increase for everybody, and many things far worse than that. MAGA should drop this pathetic loser, Thomas Massie, like the plague. The good news is that we will have a wonderful American patriot running against him in the Republican primary, and I'll be out in Kentucky campaigning really hard. So that is his promise. He is going to come to Kentucky. He is going to rally in Kentucky against Thomas Massie next year. MAGA is not about lazy, grandstanding, non-productive politicians, of which Thomas Massie is definitely one. Thank you to our incredible military for the amazing job they did last night. It was really special. Make America great again. Yeah. So there you go, guys. There you go. War has been declared, but not on Iran. It's on Massie's ass. It's war. War is at home. War is at home against the libertarians. We are going to clean Kentucky dry. There's a Kentucky pack now being made where we're funneling in money to go up against the establishment in Iran, not Iran, in Kentucky. Kentucky is Iran to me. I'm going to be honest. No, they need a regime change. You get what I mean? I'm advocating regime change in Kentucky. Rand Paul, Thomas Massie, their stupid governor. Anybody with me? Regime change in Kentucky. Do we have W's in the chat for regime change in Kentucky? Because that's what I'm going for. Keep an eye on McDonald's in Kentucky next year. Thomas Massie might be working the drive-thru. Potentially. All right, we got W's in chat. W's in chat. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Oh, man. This is so much fun. I cannot wait. And again, do I enjoy the fact that libertarians are losing their seat at the table? No, not necessarily. I actually agree with libertarians on a multitude of things. I am on the libertarian side, the federalist side, with the land bill. And like 95% of all of you fucking hate me for it. I don't care. But like, that's the thing. I don't hate. What I hate is us not getting stuff done. I hate no results. And it's not just that. It's a little bit of a dimension beyond that. Because they're incapable of getting anything done and nothing is capable of passing. Now libertarians are in this position where if they're in federal politics, they have to make money on preventing things from happening. They have to make money and get donations off of preventing us from marginally improving our situation. That's why Massie's voting against the bill. That's why he's calling to impeach Trump, even though he didn't call publicly, I believe, to impeach Obama. I think he did it on like podcasts, maybe. I think he said, oh yeah, he should have been. He went back into his little nerd closet to oppose Obama back when Obama was doing this. But when it's Trump, obviously, he's got to do it loud and proud, pump his chest like a gorilla. Ooh, ooh, impeach Trump. Ooh, ooh. Like, get the hell out of here, dude. Breaking, Qatar missiles intercepted. No casualties. Okay, well, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Thank you, Boston, for bringing it up. Let me see here. Yeah. All right. Yep. I've got something for us to look at. Qatar says intercepted missile barrage on Al Udeid Air Base. Qatar says no incident, no casualties from missile attack. And I know I say it like that. I know it's like Qatar. You're supposed to say Qatar or whatever. But yeah, that's just the way I say it, dude. Comment Iran L. Yeah, this does complicate things. I don't know if we're going to immediately retaliate if we intercepted all the missiles. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, no. Good if true. Iran does this a lot, lol. Yeah. No, I'm still positive right now. I'm positive until Trump's like, we're gonna. No, I mean, even if we retaliate, I'll be fine. But that's the main thing is I want China to really step up. I want Russia and China together to step up and go, look, we have opposing interests with the United States. We have current conflicts going on by proxy with the United States. But at the end of the day, we value the stability of the current world system. And we don't want to, we're not going to throw away all of the money we're making, all of the peace that we have. We're not going to go into brazen conflict in order to disrupt what we have right now. I that's what I really want from them. And if they do want that, if they want peace, or they want to maintain stability in Iran, they'll work together to keep it stable. And that makes me happy because then all the stuff I talked about yesterday doesn't happen. We still might have high gas prices, but the rest of it doesn't happen. It's one thing to oppose Massie, another to oppose libertarians having input. Right. And I would like libertarians to exist. I would like them to all be federalists. In other words, I want them to focus on how they take power and shove it directly in the hands of the governor and state legislatures. I want them to focus on that. I don't want them to focus on all this other bullcrap that they're never going to get past ever in a million years. Let's stop having daydream fantasies in Congress about things that will never happen, and let's actually work towards things that can happen. Is that okay? Is that reasonable? This is the pragmatic push. Now, pragmatism will go too far one day, but right now, this is the pragmatic push. Get stuff done. Stop worrying about thoughts. We can have thoughts later. We actually need to save the country. Persian Empire used to have aura. Iran lost all their aura. So true. So true. Okay. No. In the same way Nixon worked to localize the Vietnam War by shifting the burden from the U.S. to South Vietnam, should do the same with the Middle East. Yeah, Ben, that's really that's kind of where my head is. That's where my head is with everything. I would really like it to be somebody else's problem. And as long as it is, and as long as they take care of it, then we don't have to care. And we can worry about the homeland. Yeah. High gas prices undersells it. To be fair, higher oil prices raises inflation unnecessarily. Right, Tom, and I did mention that yesterday. Inflation comes after, because obviously higher gas prices screw with everything Trump is doing with his energy plans, his energy executive orders. The point was to keep inflation at bay. And so next month, it's a little bit late in the month, so maybe in 2 months, we might see some bad numbers come out as a result of this hiccup. Iran needs to reinstate the Shah themselves. We need to stay as far away as possible. Right. That would be more preferable than the other situation. Here's the two things I would want. If the Shah comes in, then have the greater powers around them kind of validate his existence, if that was what were to happen. As long as we don't have to be involved, and as long as we don't go in there. And, the problem is, of course, what kind of damage the civil war that would ensue, or any minorities breaking off, what they would do. If they bend to the Shah and they just they calm down and economic activity is allowed to continue, we might be okay. But it's really just a matter of the region being stable. I keep saying that over and over again because the region has to be stable, and that's what we want. If the circumstances aren't exactly what I'm thinking of, but the region's still stable, then I'm okay with that. Stability is what I'm seeking. I am Battlefield for 2. So what happens now at the midterms? Yeah, buddy, that is the wrong time to ask that. Again, anything that you say right now, anything that you do, it's going to be completely unknowable for a while. It'll be known later. It'll be fine. And yeah, no. A lot of people that are actually, I do absolutely want to say, with people that want the evil people to be gone from Iran, I do too. Yeah, absolutely. I would love for Iran to have peaceful, secular leaders. Secularism, way better than Islam. And again, this is how I feel about Kazakhstan, right? Kazakhstan was doing demonstrably better under secular leadership than it was under any sort of Islamic leadership. They currently have this pressure in their country to turn into a kind of caliphate. They have a lot of, religious Muslims in their country that want to change the government. I think that'll make Kazakhstan way worse. So that's just one example of a country that just legitimately does better. I would rather there be Christian nations, but in a place where there's basically no Christians, a secular government ends up being better a lot of the time. A lot better than Islam. And because usually their governments can fold into our civilization more easily than Muslim civilization. Not sure the president would care for the Shah, probably lift the exile, but actually invite him to government. I'm not so sure. Yeah, they have no idea. I don't know. Let's see. President Wilson forcing Germany to get rid of the monarchy indirectly led to World War II. Don't make the same mistake here. I mean, that's the mistake that we were making throughout the majority of the 20th century. We just did it quietly afterwards. But yeah, no, Wilson was pretty direct in trying to get the whole world to move on from systems that were potentially stable for them. Yeah. No, we got to remember the whole reason the Ayatollah ousted the Shah regime in the first place was because he was seen as a Western puppet. Well, right. And so, Attican, if the Iranians want a non-Western puppet as their leader, and we don't want them to have a fundamentalist government, then they probably need a Chinese puppet or a China/Russia puppet. I don't think Iran is going to be able to wholesale have a completely independent leader of their country. It's probably going to have to be somebody that has some amount of influence with other countries. That's really where the buck stops with that. Yeah. Then anyways, Massie, again, making the same mistake as Bernie, calling Trump's unconstitutional, calling him to be impeached. We know why Trump was able to do those things. Congress gave him permission to do those things 50 years ago. And yeah, if he wants to change it, then he should go ahead with his bill. He's trying to do a bill with Representative Ro Khanna. I don't remember if you know this, guys. This is a completely insane person, by the way. Ro Khanna, one of those really insane hard left Democrats. They're going together to try and do a bill that will prevent this. I believe it's a resolution that edits the capacity of the president to make strikes and do other things. Yeah, so he should go ahead with that. I can't wait for it to not be brought forward and fail because the rest of Congress doesn't care. But if it did, if it did pass, I'd be like, whatever. Okay. Yeah, and this is Dan Turrentine. I just wanted to bring up his stuff because he's pointing out the exact same thing I was. He's like one of the Democrats that goes on Fox News regularly. It was too depressing to write last night after we got off air, so I went to bed, but it needs to be said by more Democrats. This was not an impeachable offense. Trump did not need a congressional approval for one precision attack under circumstances, just as Obama did not while striking bin Laden. By the way, if you were wondering, I think I wrote down, yeah, Obama strikes. Libya participated in NATO-led intervention in Libya. 542 drone strikes in Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, and more. In Syria, 2013-2014, when the civil war broke out, he sought approval from Congress, did not get approval from Congress, and did the airstrikes anyways. Wow. Thank you, Obama. Iraq in 2014, Obama relied on 2001-2002 AUMFs. In other words, the Bush administration authorizations, he kind of leaned on, and a lot of people debate about whether or not he was able to do that. It's kind of weird 12 years later to use the same authorization. It was definitely a loophole. But yeah, no, Obama did all of this. Obama did all of this. And we didn't have a giant scandal. We didn't have a giant hullabaloo. Conservatives were upset, but nobody cared. Conservatives were upset about it, but the general public just said, nah, I don't care. I love black man. I love Obama. I love Obama. American Earth for 2. Mom Donnie is surging in New York. They're screwed. Oh, yeah, I have that. I actually have that right over. Well, actually, I have a statement from Zoran, and then I wanted to talk about that. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and pull that stuff up. Mike Finn for 5. I find the whole oil prices rising annoying because if then inflation rises, Jerome Powell will find another excuse to not lower interest rates. Absolutely. Mike Finn, that is the exact reason that we don't like this. Mike Oxford for 2. Ro Khanna is definitely one of the better Dems. I don't know about that. I've looked at his policies, dude. It's what is it? He's Medicare for all. He's generally approving of a bunch of different, like he's just flat out like full blown socialist in so many different ways. I didn't keep a list of the things that he said, but oh gosh, I took a glance at the full list of stuff, and it sounds like socialism. But of course, yeah, a lot of there's some MAGA people comfortable with it, but yeah, no, let's not do that. Mr. Clean for 5. It's got to be a big downer if you're Iran. You launch your epic retaliation just for all your missiles to get intercepted. Well, I'm actually thinking they might have done it on purpose like that. I think Iran doesn't want the blowback from all of that. And I think that there's a chance that they tried to do a strike that we wouldn't retaliate against. And he went ahead and told us to evacuate people when we did it. So we'll see. We will see. Zachary Scott for 2. You're my fave tranime African queen, John Rose. Thank you so much, Zachary. Kiss, 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 kiss. No, you disgust me. You disgust me. No. American Earth for 3. Praying mantis or Operation Midnight Hammer, Operation Praying Mantis, or Operation Midnight Hammer. Yeah, no, I don't know. I won't choose. I would, if I could choose, I would choose Midnight Hammer. Let's see here. But yeah, so Zoran made this. He did the exact same grift as everyone else did. Massie did. Bernie did. Even Rachel Maddow. Oh, let's look at Rachel Maddow real quick. Look at her face. Look at her face. I'm not bringing up the clip because I don't think she deserves it. I don't think Rachel Maddow deserves anything, honestly. But she makes like $20 million a year, and she cried like a freaking grade schooler on live television. She cried and cried and cried her little crocodile tears. Now, if this was happening under a Kamala Harris administration, she'd be like, "Girl boss, throw the missiles. Girl boss, throw the missiles." She would just be, she would be elated. She would be having euphoric times, drinking champagne as Kamala Harris blasted, like obliterated Iran into a million pieces. She would love it. It's just, it's the wrong person doing it. So now she has to cry like a grade schooler on national television. Not a serious reporter, not a serious person. I hope we win one more time and her entire career just goes down the tubes. I actively want her career destroyed. Disgusting journalist. But yeah, back to Zoran. So Zoran Mamdani, he did the same grift as everyone else. He went against it. And someone pointed out, in this, for Americans, war is all we have known. This photo is older than his citizenship. I believe Zoran has only been a citizen for like 7 years. And Trump went and met with North Korea around that time, first year of his office. So yeah, no. Trump reached a diplomatic solution with North Korea back then. And we're hoping that that's what happens here again. But yeah, to all of the concern trolls and everything, this is the main thing that you're bringing up, right? You're bringing up the fact that Trump has worked these things out, and that as much as we can be scared and like, you know, we not like riding the tiger, not like riding the roller coaster that is Donald Trump, he has done this before. Does Trump, at John, does Rachel Maddow deserve a hug at the bare minimum? If she was actually upset about something, she's not upset about this. That's the thing. It's fake crying. If she is upset about like a personal problem, or if she's upset about, you know, something actually horrible happening, like a family member dying, yeah, sure, she can get a hug. But none of this is real. None of this is real. None of this is real. That's the point. Oh. That's what I don't like about it. It's all fucking fake. It's fake as shit. John, Qatar responded to Iran. Yeah, let's take a quick look at that. Qatar responded. Call and response. Let's see. Let's see. Breaking oil prices fall over 3% as Iran launches missiles at U.S. bases. The market is pricing out uncertainty as Iran responds. All signs continue point toward a short-lived war. That's the Kobasi letter. I don't necessarily trust the Kobasi letter, but that's what they're reporting. Qatar says it reserves the right to respond after Iranian attack. Muslim country versus Muslim country. What will the left do here? What flag do they raise? That's a good post. I'll pull you up, Adam. Here. I like this post. Okay. Yeah, so Qatar has the right to respond after Iranian attack. Do you support Qatar? Do you support Iran? What do you do, Democrat? What do you do? Can you think long enough? Do you know what country Qatar is? Do you know the size difference between Qatar and Iran? Do you know anything? Do you know anything about this situation? Yeah, no, it would be fun. Oh. I know. I see you guys like talking to Five Test. I was entertaining him for a while, but like, again, he was just like Olivia Williams. He's just one of those trolls. Actually, Olivia Williams just might be a boomer. She might just be a boomer that's like not really in touch with our thought process. I feel like if she understood what I was thinking, she wouldn't hate me so much. Because she was like, calling me an Iran simp or something. Oh, maybe Five Test was calling me an Iran simp. I don't remember. These people are really silly though. Yeah, Five Test derangement syndrome. Yeah, come on, guys. Like, this is the thing, and I think everybody in this community could take a really important lesson. Don't feed the troll. Just don't feed the troll. If you don't feed the troll, if you ignore them, stonewall them, and leave them out of your conversations, they just go away, dude. Cherokee Bear for 2, Massie blamed Trump for Jan 6. Really? Did that just happen? Or no, that happened back in the day. Yeah, no. Massie was a complete hypocrite on that, and I am not surprised by that at all. I am Battlefield for 2. We need MAGA to stay united and keep the coalition. I think everything will calm down after a few weeks. Right now, there's grifters gonna grift, but I anticipate this cooling down. Not again, when I say that, someone's gonna be like, "Oh, but then we retaliated," and then long term, we're going to have things cool down. I'm not predicting that we won't strike again. I'm not predicting that there won't be problems or even a little bit of instability. I think China is going to keep it in check. I think Russia's going to keep it in check. I think the United States is staying out of Iran. American Nerd for 2. What comes next if Mom Donnie wins the primary? Right. So that's a really important thing to talk about. Let me go ahead and pull up. That poll. So we have a from Poll Tracker 2024. We have an Emerson poll for Mom Donnie. New York City Democratic mayoral primary. Zohran Mamdani, 52%. Andrew Cuomo, 48%. So yes, the guy that has every bad Democrat policy from across the spectrum. He wants to bring in the homelessness crisis from San Francisco. He wants to bring in the dysfunctional, non-working homeless shelter subway stations from Philadelphia. He wants to bring in a bunch of bad stuff from Chicago. Oh, man. No, he basically wants to turn New York into a third world hellhole, which is really fitting because he's barely been a citizen longer than 7 years, right? Yeah, he is winning the primary right now, according to Emerson. And if Cuomo can't beat Mamdani and Mamdani wins New York, which would probably be the result, yeah, no, it's over. It's over for New York. Stay out of New York. It's going to become a nuclear waste zone, not because of Iran, but because of Democrat policy. Oh, gosh. Yeah, no, stay out of New York if Mamdani wins. The city's going to be even more unusable. In Battlefield for 2, reports are saying no troops have been killed. That's great. Massie has some good anti-corruption and foreign policies. However, he's been an idiot on economics and domestic policies lately. Again, it doesn't matter where I agree or disagree with him. It's about what we can do and what we can't do. And I can stand with him against intervention. I can't stand with him on impeaching Trump. You cannot impeach the president for something that every single president has been doing for the past 80 years. It's selective prosecution. He has authority that was granted to him by Congress in 1973 to do exactly what he just did. It's the same reasoning Obama did, same reasoning that probably Bush took, except under the authorizations. At the end of the day, this is ridiculous. Massie is continuing to posture himself as an enemy of Trump, and he's trying to make everybody think that, oh, well, I'm the real MAGA. I'm the real America first. He is America fucking last. I'm going to tell you that. And there's too many policies, whether it's open borders libertarianism or whether it's some of the free market stuff. They're very globalist in posture. Their donors are globalist in posture. Libertarians are not MAGA because they do not do economic nationalism. Get on the economic nationalist train and maybe you will be MAGA someday, but no, they're not even remotely. Iran coordinated with the United States to minimize casualties and provide de-escalation. Iranian media is saying They destroyed the U.S. base to save regime face Eric Daugherty. Yeah, no, Eric is absolutely right. That's exactly what's going on. I am very hopeful about this if that's the situation. And look, if you guys don't understand, Iran needs to save face. You keep hearing me talk about stability, and that's because Iran looks weak. Iran looks weak when we destroy its nuclear facilities. Iran looks weak when we let them, when they just get bombed and they can do nothing about it by Israel. Iran looks weak. And if the Ayatollah look weak and the already discontent population sees that, they're going to see it as an opportunity to get rid of them. And then that's where the instability comes from. By allowing Iranian state media to tell their own people, yeah, we blew up their base, we're big, we're mean and green, the U.S. were a bunch of wimps, they're a bunch of wimps that backed out, they backed out of the fight. It offers a platform for de-escalation. So pray. I'm not telling you guys with certainty what is and isn't going to happen. I'm telling you to pray. Please pray. Mike Oxford for 5. Would you sacrifice New York City for a safe Chicago, San Francisco, and LA? Might be a fair trade. I only live 50 miles from NYC, but that's far enough to avoid the apocalypse. Well, I'm not particularly interested in New York City as a place. It is an icon of America. It would be nice if we could preserve it. But if you're asking me to trade 3 major U.S. cities for another one, yeah, I guess just because those are 3 cities. If there was a safe, doesn't have to necessarily agree with my politics, but if there was a Chicago without crime, that would immensely help out our country. Like Chicago on its own, just going down in crime would just immediately drop our crime statistics, guys. It'd be really funny. San Francisco without countless homeless people, that sounds like a lot better. And Los Angeles without Mayor Karen Bass and a psychopathic government. Yeah, that would be nice. Oh, goodness. But yeah. What was it? K-Cup saying thank you for me. Thank you for the super chat, Mike. I appreciate it, Mike. Rap appreciates it. I appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun here. I enjoy good questions, and Mike gives good questions. But yeah, other Mike. Oh goodness. Oh, the other mic? Oh, that. Okay, yeah. There's a mic in chat, and then there's a mic that's super chatted. I gotcha. Okay. Anyways. I wanted to go over some smaller stories because we have some good stuff to go over. You guys understand what's going on. We'll kind of wrap it up in 10-ish minutes. If you guys have any questions or super chats that you really want to go over, you have any questions about the current situation, let me know. I will answer your question. But as for right now, we're going to keep going with a couple of smaller stories. First, I want to brag about my state. U.S. Marshals and Florida officials announced largest single child rescue operation in American history. Over 2 weeks, 60 kids are safe in custody. This involved over 20 agencies and 100 plus people. 8 people were arrested, charged with human trafficking, child endangerment, drug possession and trafficking. U.S. Marshal, Operation Dragonfly, the largest in the history of the U.S. Marshal Service, if not the largest in the U.S., ranging from 9 to 17 years of age. We saved 60 kids. All those kids that were thrown away, abandoned, completely ignored by the Biden administration. These may not all be border kids. They may be actual kids, but I am absolutely enthralled. Enthralled? I am very happy that we got these kids out of danger. Brandon Beetle for 5. Rap said in the past that if Zoran wins the primary, he'll probably win the general. Do you agree? Yeah. As much as I like New York going right, it hasn't gone right far enough to fight and win against like a Democrat candidate like that. It's too popular, too powerful. And that's not the same for nationally. National, federal elections could be different, but Zoran probably wins the primary if he wins he probably wins the general if he wins the primary. I agree, Brandon. Battlefield for 2. Is all the hard work done by Trump wipe away now? No, sir. Now, I have said once again, if all the stuff I talked about happens, it could damage it. So we could have problems. We could have a mixed message. We could have trouble conveying to voters in midterms and the general next time that we actually were promoting policies that help the country. We had data month after month after month and this start that everything was good, but the data will get muddled by the length of this conflict, which is why it is in the Trump's interest for it to be short, why it's in China and Russia's interest for it to be short. And that's what we're hoping for. We hope everything settles down and everything is cool. And I actually think that is currently the plan, is to try and get the other big countries to step in and all, sue for peace collectively. Trump isn't going to respond to Iran attack. Nothing ever happened. Bros won. Well, Riley, again, I hate making predictions right now because everything seems to turn on a dime. I hope to God you're right, though. Nothing ever happens, bros. Please be right, ladies and gentlemen. Just waiting for Rich Barris Category 5 call-outs. Okay, man, look, listen. I actually like Rich Barris as a person. I understand sometimes he has, like, a lot of problems. But I really enjoy... When I agree with Rich Barris, I enjoy listening to him so much. When I don't agree with him, it's more annoying. But when I do agree with him, oh, it's kind of cathartic to listen to him. Do his yelling. I don't know what you would call it. I know. I'm a fan. I like big data polling. I'm mutual with Mark Mitchell though. I prefer Mark. He's my favorite. Rasmussen. But Barris, he's all right. But yeah, I guess we should prepare for the call out. Oh gosh. Yeah, but no, W for us saving kids. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a new law requiring the 10 Commandments to be displayed in public school classrooms. It's a wonderful thing. We had somebody do a grok, is this true, right under. Yeah, so grok is lying about constitutional rights, so we'll go ahead and get past that, Stone versus Graham. There may be court problems with it, but the courts, if they were in any way authentic to the vision of the founding fathers, would allow him to do this. The government was not supposed to hold like supremacy clauses over state institutions. The court rulings that have gone against this are ridiculous. No, at the end of the day, every state, as a federalist, every state, I believe, should be able to set precedent for these laws. If a state with 80%, 90% Christians, which is not Texas, I'm thinking of like Oklahoma, but if a state with a vast majority Christian population wants the 10 Commandments in their households, in their classrooms, then they absolutely should. They absolutely should, and they should do it because we've figured out the liberal lie of neutrality. We were all told and spun this funny little lie that if we just all pretended to be neutral when we went to school and we went to work and we pretended that we didn't believe anything and that we were just secular liberals, that nothing would change and everything would be fine and we could have a conversation with the battlefield of ideas and, the normal people would win out. But that's not what's happened at all. The disfigured freaks have won. They've put pornographic material in your children's books. They've gone ahead and put gay flags and crap flags and made everybody celebrate LGBT at school. I went through that, and I'm almost in the casket. No, this is ridiculous. Basically, you actually have to believe things in order for things to stay the same. If you believe nothing, or at least you pretend you believe nothing when you go to school, your secular little school, they will use it, take advantage of it, and they will push whatever bullcrap they can. Remember, every single time someone tells you, well, we don't want to make people uncomfortable. We want to protect everybody's freedom of religion by not allowing you to express your state's freedom of religion. In other words, they're telling you to shut up. What they really want is a mosque outside of your school, and they want anybody that is non-American, anti-Western, that wants to destroy your culture to have more rights than you do. They will not stop it. If it's anything outside of Western civilization, or if it's anything promoting their ideology, then they will promote it to hell and back. They will promote abortion. They will promote LGBT. They will promote every disgusting socialist policy that they believe in directly to your kids for tens of thousands of hours until your child is ruined. No. I agree with Governor Abbott. Just let the Christian states, the states with Christians still in them, be Christian, and let the states that aren't Christian be secular. And they can go worship gays and the environment and abortion and everything else. They can go worship all of their, little idols, and that'll be fine. This is going to get shut down. No, I think I'll probably just go by and clip this out of it at the end. No, I don't think we're going to have any problems. But no, you guys understand. I believe in federalism. So if you live in a state with a bunch of secular people, then you're going to have a secular government and a secular state and all these other things. If you live in a state with a bunch of Christians, whether they're Catholic or Protestant or whatever, then it's going to be run like a Christian state. And that's the way the rest of the world works. It really is. That's how every other country in the world works. The ones that aren't deranged. Countries with a bunch of Muslims, they have schools where Muslim faith is present. And that's because you cannot separate the two things. You cannot separate civilization from fundamental beliefs. That's at the end of the day. The Muslims have to do it. The Buddhists have to do it. The Hindus probably have to do it. Like, I'm just done with the fake lie of neutrality. The lie of neutrality brought us to everything getting immensely worse. Cake up for 5. Command: honor your father and mother, don't steal and don't kill, libs. Too religious book describes a gay BJ, libs, perfect for children. That's exactly my point. That's my point. They don't think it's suitable to teach your kid to not kill and steal, but they do think that it is suitable to teach your kid about how to perform oral sex. Completely ridiculous. No. Bucky, there's court precedent in recent time against this, but those court precedents are wrong, and that they should take the prior precedent of states actually being able to enforce their own laws and have their own culture, and they should believe in the 10th Amendment. There you go. I got to be a full-blown Federalist for a little while. I feel happy. I'm satisfied with myself. And yeah, if you don't like it, if you're not Christian and you don't like any of this, then I suggest doing what the Libertarians did when they moved to New Hampshire. Just move to a state where there's people exactly like you, and then live exactly how you want to live. And we can all live peacefully as long as we stay in our little boxes. I really think that's the case. If you want to be a full-blown hard leftist, live in a state full of hard-blown leftists, and let people that are from my culture, from the Southeast United States, let us be ourselves in our own states, and we will stop caring about you so much. Did Massie really call for impeachment? Yeah, it was a few days ago. It was a couple days ago, I believe. He did. And look, again, he doesn't mean it. He knows it won't happen. It's all a matter of optics. Someone once said that in politics and in Congress, there are doers and showers. You either do things in Congress or you show things in Congress. Massey's a shower. He doesn't do things. He just makes a really funny, stand-up routine. He makes everybody look at him. He does propose bills, but they're bills that don't get passed. So yes, Massey's a shower. So he can call for the impeachment of Donald Trump, and it's fine because he will never get it done. The Rainbow's God's promised to not flood the earth again. Yes, God bless Mike. Object Class Cater. Many states required state officers to be some sort of Christian back in the day. Yes. And why is that? Because those people don't do all the horrible things that cause leftists to call cops ACAB. And you want to know how they got to calling cops ACAB? They were referring to cops as disgusting pigs. It's because they're not set to any moral standard, and because they're allowed to do bad things. And you can't fix that with extreme regulation on cops, as we've been proven, because when you put too much regulation, they stop being able to do their job, and everything falls apart. And you can't do it through other means. What you essentially have to do is you have to encourage cops to exist, give them freedom to do their job, but then also provide people of good moral fiber. Does that mean that we need to hire all Christian cops across the country? It's impossible. We can't do that. But there should be standards. There should be moral and ethical standards. I have police in my family, and they're wonderful. They're the best guys ever. And so I just hate it when I hear ACAB stuff. Separation of government and religion is because every state had a different state religion, right? So the actions of Jefferson and Madison complicate this to an extent, but they both also believed in the same thing. They believed states could conduct themselves in one way, and the federal government would stay out of it. They didn't believe in removing religion from government officials, but they did believe that the federal government would stay secular while the state governments would go through. State governments had state churches for quite a while until it all went away and we decided that we were a supremacy federal state. That's, and that the true sovereign was not the states, but the true sovereign of the country was the president. That's American history. We decided the president was the real sovereign of the country about 80 years into our history. And that's not the way things are supposed to be. And I would like, in whatever little way I can, to claw back the true idea of it. And it's not just because that's what I believe or because what I want. It's because I think we'll function better. I think we'll function better if we let the crazy libs do what they want. I think we'll also function better if we let conservatives do what they want in their own spaces, apart from each other. Leftists in leftist states, Republicans in Republican states. And as long as we leave each other, as long as we get to enforce our own moralities, well, their societies will collapse and ours will grow strong. And then they'll remember that, oh yeah, I guess we need to follow the people that actually understand civilization. And then everything will go fine. But yeah, I believe in federalism. Let's see. While I'm critical of Trump striking Iran, I still see impeaching him over it as extremely stupid. Yes. I'm in the exact same place, Attican. I am critical, but you can't impeach Trump over something that every president for 80 years has been doing. If we impeached every president that did that, Bush and Obama would have been impeached. Yes. And again, Congress is to blame. Congress is to blame for the president having that power. They gave away the power. They're lazy bastards, and they're still lazy bastards. They can't get anything done. That is the problem. And if they have a problem with it, they need to fix it. That's my take. Yeah, absolutely. You can criticize Trump and still support him. That's where we are. That's who I am. There's a couple other things. I like a lot of what Trump does. And there's just a couple things that we can criticize, and that's okay. But yeah, please continue praying for the situation and praying for everything else. I'm going to wrap up the stream, and please give it a like, give it a share if you enjoyed it. I might have to clip out that last part, but you guys get it. No, I think we're having a wonderful time. And otherwise, I want peace, but it's not like a blunt force thing that I want. It can come in a lot of forms. As long as peace and stability come in a form that does not harm us at home, and that allows us to continue working on Trump's agenda, however that manifests, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take whatever I can get. Okay, so please pray for that, guys. And otherwise, I want you guys to get off on a good foot. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Godspeed to all of you.